as we draw closer to Easter and as we start to think about Resurrection Sunday, there is one question that I want to ask in this video today. What happened to Barabbas? We are 3 weeks away from Easter Sunday, or Resurrection Sunday as some want to call it. And every time this Sunday, this season rolls around, of course, I always think about Jesus, obviously. But then I also think about the little details in the weeks to come. And one of my favorite parts that I think about in the little details is about the 3 thieves. Of course, we remember the penitent thief, the one who was on the cross, who looked to Jesus and said, "Remember me when you come into your kingdom." And then we think about the other thief who, in the final moments of his life, not only blaspheming the world, but also blaspheming Christ as he is on the cross. But more so this year, I think about the third thief. I think about Barabbas, the one who was set free. And I think about him because maybe you can relate to him. You can relate, and so can I. When we think about Barabbas, the scripture talks about him very notably in all of the Gospels. Matthew calls him someone who was a rebel or revolutionary. Mark calls him an insurrectionist, a murderer. Luke mentions the same exact thing. And even John calls him a revolutionary or robber. And so you think about all of these when it comes to Barabbas. He was a rebel. He was a revolutionary. He was an insurrectionist. He was a murderer. He was a robber. And he was a criminal. You think about all of these things. And so for all of these crimes, Barabbas is sentenced to prison. He is arrested for his crimes and he is going to get the just punishment. He is going to die for his crimes. But then one day he was summoned out of jail. He was summoned out of jail by the crowd and by the king, all for the purpose of the crowd choosing between Barabbas and the crowd choosing between Jesus. And the crowd, of course, chose Barabbas. And they sentenced Jesus to be crucified. And so as I think about this, I remember years ago when I taught this lesson in a Sunday school. I talked about how Barabbas was a criminal, a robber, how he did all of these crimes, and how he was sentenced to jail. He was going to die for those crimes. And then one day, as I said, he was summoned for the people to choose between him and between Jesus. And of course, they chose Jesus to be crucified, and they set Barabbas free. And I remember at the end of the lesson, how as the kids were leaving class, there was a little girl who came up to me. And the youth pastor at that time said, prepare for questions because they will ask. And so I was excited about this. So she came to me with a question. And it's the same question, of course, that is the topic of this video. She asked me the question, what happened to Barabbas after he was set free? And for the most part, I did not have a response because I never thought about that. I never thought about what happened to Barabbas after he was set free. And even years later, it is still a thought that challenges me as a Christian. And literally I told her, the Bible does not tell us. And so there's some speculation that can be made. One, Barabbas was set free and he went back to his old life. He went back to being a rebel. He went back to being a revolutionary, an insurrectionist, a murderer, a robber, and a criminal. There was no change. Or he could have heard about Jesus, heard about what he had done, heard that he was the Son of God, and there was an instant change in his life when he realized the man who set him free was indeed the Son of God. And he said that if he's the Son of God, then I can't live this same life that I'm living right now. I have to change. But here's the sad truth. The Bible does not tell us. History does not tell us. All we have is that of speculation. I want you to think about that, especially as we draw closer to Easter, that question of what happened to Barabbas. How the Bible does not tell us and how history does not tell us. We have no idea what impact that had on Barabbas's life. And now I said that each and every one of us can relate to Barabbas. You say, how so? We have rebelled against God. We have murdered with our words. We have stolen time, talents, treasures that belong to Him. We, in God's eyes, are criminals. We have gone against His law for so long, all because this is our nature. We were born sinners. We were born with a sin nature. And we also are going to be sentenced for our crimes. And then Jesus came not only to set you free, but to set the whole world free. And if Jesus Christ has set you free, because the Bible tells us whoever the Son sets free is free indeed, what will your story be? Will your story be, Jesus Christ has set me free, and so I can just go back to doing what I was doing? He paid the price, and I don't have to do anything now? Or do you realize who Jesus Christ is? And you say, I cannot live the same way that I did. Something has to change. I must change. Jesus Christ must change me. Maybe today you think about that. Maybe today you say, I can relate to that story of Barabbas. And the pull of wanting to go back to the old life is there. I want to encourage you that you do not have to do that. As we draw closer to Easter, I want you to think about the story of Barabbas. I want you to think about how after he got released, there is no story about him. But your life doesn't have to be the same. There is a story. Jesus Christ has set you free. What is it that you are going to do with that freedom? Are you going to remain the same? Or are you going to follow Him wholeheartedly and full-heartedly? May this encourage you today. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and share if this video encouraged you. And to see more encouraging videos and posts, subscribe to my channel and follow me on social. See you guys next time.